Hey, y'all, what's up? Today we are going to talk about how I published my first book. But we're going to talk about how I published my first book if I were to publish it today. Like, how do I publish my books? I'll give you guys a little rundown of how I did my first book. I published first back in 2018. I know I say all the time, y'all, do not go looking for that book. Do not go looking for that edition. Please don't. It was a mess. So we're going to talk about what I did, talk about what I do, why have I changed, and what resources I used to get here. Let's go. Okay, so I started publishing in 2018. I am a full-time teacher. I was state testing at the end of the year where we can't have any electronics. I didn't have my phone, my watch, my computer, no tablet, no anything. And I'm not supposed to read, like crossword puzzles. They don't want us to do anything but like walk around the room for the 4 hours watching the kids take the test. So what did I actually start doing is I took out a notebook and I started writing. I am a big reader, y'all. Self-proclaimed bibliophile. You guys know that. I have a couple of videos on the channel of like my wrap-ups. I know y'all want me to be more consistent with that, my monthly wrap-ups. I'm going to do that this year. But I'm a big reader. I've always loved writing. I never took writing seriously, though. I never took it seriously. So we're doing this test. I'm bored out of my mind. So I start writing. And by the end of the week of testing, I have like almost 50% of a book of what I thought was a book. And that's when I decided, I think this is what I'm going to do. Like, let me write a book. And so after I finished writing it in my notebook, I went over and I took some time to transfer it into my computer. I did it in Google Docs. After I finished writing it, I sent it through. I did the Google Docs, the like spell check thing on Google Docs. I sent it through Grammarly. I downloaded it as a PDF. I looked up a public domain image. I went into Canva. I created a cover. I took the Google Docs PDF. I took the self-made cover. I smushed it together. I went to Amazon KDP and I published a book. So, do you have your notebook out? Tell me all the things wrong with what I just said. Tell me all the things wrong with what I just said. And as in that beginning stage, as I'm learning, I published a different book. I learned a little bit more about public domain, and I had a KDP ISBN. And so as I'm learning more, as I'm moving forward, as I'm learning more, I'm kind of making little changes, and I'm just going into KDP and I'm refreshing and I'm like redoing the stuff all over again. I was a part of certain sites that helped me get reviews. I was doing my own kind of social media thing. I already had an Instagram that had a couple thousand, like no more than 2,000 followers I had. And I just transformed that into a Bookstagram. And that's where I started. I transformed from my personal onto it. I started doing book stuff here and there. I did a couple of stuff on Facebook. It was just me doing all the stuff. Needless to say, your girl was a hot mess. So then as I'm transforming, I found someone on Facebook. Her name's Monique Mensa. And I found her as a self-publishing indie coach. She was offering a free Build Your Audience course. And so I said, hey, let me put in my email. Oh, so business stuff, what did I have? I had a website I was using through Wix. I was paying like $300 some odd a year for that. What else was I paying for? I was paying for the website, and I shipped from my house. So I got a bunch of stock from Amazon. I got mailers and all that, and I was shipping from my house. And then at the time I was also doing like bookmarks and journals and stuff like that from my house. So I had like a binder and the hardcover and the paper and the laminator and all the stuff. And so I'm taking Monique's course. And like find my audience, that was something that I've never, like, what do you mean find my audience? It's like, well, I have 2,000 some odd people on my Instagram. Like, that's like my audience, but not like picture the person you're writing for. What's the gender? What do they like? What do they not like? What do they do? Like all of that was like news to me. And so I really dived into, oh my gosh, y'all. Okay, so I see the first edition of my first book. Oh my gosh, I'm going to show y'all. So hold on, I'm going to show y'all. At this time, I was writing under one name, Cheyenne Warren, and I had written 2 crime fiction paranormal books. I did them the same way. Through Canva, popped it in Grammarly, like I did it the same way. It wasn't until after I got into Monique that I decided to switch into 2 brands. Let me show you these books, y'all. Okay. Okay, y'all, I'm going to show you these books. So progress. Let's look at the progress. I'm going to show you these books, and then I'm going to pop up what my books currently look like. These 2 books, what they currently look like. Okay. These are Yelena 1 and Yelena 2. This is what I have. 2 different colors. Yelena 1 is thicker than Yelena 2 is. Here's what the backs of them look like. A mess. This is a public domain image. This I literally took off of Canva, off of the templates, without reading the copyright or the licensure and knowing the details of that. I literally took it from the templates. This is where I first started. And I thought I had threw those all away. There goes my grandma keeping everything. So I had got into Monique. The audience builder course really like opened my eyes, and I like really fell into like the stuff that she was teaching. Like I really fell into the stuff that she was teaching. So I did a whole of her audience building course. She has a your target audience course. She has a website, like all the stuff. I started buying courses, and then she came out with this rather expensive course that was like the whole shebang, like everything in one. And I set up a payment plan. It was like $900. I set up a payment plan and I paid for it. That has been the only course in my entire life that I have paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars for. Okay. And then after all of that, I went through the process of doing stuff the way I was supposed to do it, right? By using what she said. My website was already through Wix. Wix is expensive. And because I had also started selling teacher resources, but if I wanted to add another e-commerce website under my account, I had to pay the full 3 and some change again. And like, so $600 for 2 domains, like that was too much. So I went shopping around and I landed on Bluehost. Bluehost is who I'm currently with. So I have both my websites from Forever 7 Press and for Miss Warren's class is under Bluehost. I pay 1 fee-ish. Like I have like the email and I have protections, but for me to do my website and just the bare bones, I pay 1 fee. I pay it every year. And I have up to 100 domains that I can put under that, under like my one account. So I made that transition. Like I did that. I started a new Instagram page, and that's when I I started a new Instagram page, and that's where I split my branding. Because another thing that I learned is that my audience who reads young adult fiction, I have that first book too, y'all. Yeah, let me show you what that book first looked like. Okay, let me finish my thought. But the audience who reads my young adult fiction that I had just finished writing is not the same audience that reads adult crime fiction. Now, I'm a person who reads both. I dibble into both of them. But what I needed to do is really separate my two brand, and I learned that from Monique. Let me show you this book, y'all. How Spied First Looked. How Spied First Looked. This is how Spied First Looked. I got that picture drawn by one of the students who was really good at my school. That picture is bomb. The drawing, she did a really good job. But this is what it looked like. And so I left off, I'm splitting my Instagram. I split my Instagram. And so now I'm building S. Warren author and A. Johnson author from scratch. Not from scratch. I'm building A. Johnson author from scratch. But on S. Warren author, since I had separated that from my personal Instagram, I'm really honing my audience, right? Because it's not just people who I was friends with who are now getting splashed with all my book stuff. Like I'm really honing this audience, and I'm starting both of them. Did I start both of them from scratch, or did I start my personal Instagram from scratch? I don't think I started S. Warren author from scratch. I think I transferred and then started my personal Instagram from scratch. However, that was a big follower loss, because once I really started, and at this time I was still doing my visuals, my content myself. And when I really started pushing this as like a business, this is my book page, I lost a lot of followers who were there either on my personal page or weren't interested in the young adult stuff that I was pushing, with like whatever it is. I was building up my newsletter. I really didn't focus a lot on my newsletter because I had gotten quite a few followers on Instagram. And so I really wasn't too concerned with my newsletter. I found an editor. My editor, who I've had since then, Shelly has been my editor, the only editor I've had since then. And I started paying someone. I found someone on Fiverr that I started paying for my covers. And then I decided I didn't want to do it anymore. So now jump forward to the end of 2024. So jump forward to the end of 2024. A lot of things happened and a lot of things went into place that made me come back to my e-commerce businesses, because I didn't just stop the author stuff. I stopped the teacher resources and all that. I didn't want to do any of it anymore. So I just stopped. So prior to me stopping, what I think not what made me, but what pushed me over the edge, is that my author Instagrams, both of them, Instagram deactivated them. They took them. And when I first figured it out, I'm pressing like the appeal thing. I'm going through all of that. With Instagram and Facebook, you can't talk to an actual person. And it's telling me, prove that it's you. I'm uploading pictures of my ID. I'm uploading other pictures. I'm connecting it to my Facebook. And it's like I have pictures of myself on the Instagram. Like, this is me. And it just so my whole entire audience was gone. I wasn't really pushing my newsletter. So I didn't have that like, hey y'all, my Instagram deactivated. Here's the new link. Please go on and follow me again. I didn't have that because I wasn't really focused on, big mistake, focused on my newsletter. And that's one thing that Monique said when we were in one call or Zoom or whatever. And I had said like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to start Instagram. I'm gonna have to start it from scratch. And she was like, well, just go to your newsletter and they'll follow you again. I wasn't really pushing. And it was kind of like like, your newsletter is important. And like all these resources and stuff I had access to because I paid for her course. I had access to all the stuff. It's just for some reason, I didn't think that it was that important. And I think that the frustration of that was like my last my last straw. And I'm like, I don't want to do any of this e-commerce stuff anymore. I deleted Facebook pages. I deleted the TikTok. I canceled my website subscription. I pulled out of all the places that I was getting like the reviews and stuff in. I stopped. And now at the end of 2024, I'm deciding to do this again. And I am literally starting over from zero, literally starting over. And so the first quarter of 2025, I literally jumped back into Monique's course and I went through the whole thing again, like as if it was my first time doing this. I went through the whole thing again. My editor, all I had to do was send Shelly an inbox. My cover designer, I was still using the Girl Off of Fever. Now I have transitioned the Girl Off of Fever. Now I have transitioned to Megan. I find her on Reedsy. Reedsy is also the platform that I'm using. So I started in Google Docs, right? With the normal PDF. And then I paid for Scrivenger for a while. Then I paid for, Dabble for a while. But I ended up with Reedsy. And so Megan, my cover designer, she's the one I use for all my stuff now in moving forward. And who else is on my team? Megan, my social media manager, Literacy Inspired. Through me being older, me being wiser, me having more information on what I'm doing, I decided that I didn't want to do the social media stuff. I mean, now I still do some stuff because Megan only does pictures. So I pop on there with videos and little stuff like that. But the whole shebang of it, I don't want to do that. My launch sequence for the books, I don't want to do that. I want to write. So me having my team around me is something I started before I quit. But that solely came through Monique. I had also bought, not in 2024, but previously when I started Monique's course, I had bought 10 ISBNs. I bought those ISBNs like in 2020. I need to buy another 10, but we're in 2026 and I've ran out. And now I need to buy another 10 from Bowker. And so me now, because on KDP, you can't really take books down. So now I'm like archiving stuff, creating new stuff. And it's irritating me because when you search up my name or you go to my Amazon author profile, all the stuff that I don't want there still pops up with the new stuff at the top and it pisses me off. I started with KDP and Drafted Digital, and then I was doing BN Press as well. And then I started to get in some bookstores around Charlotte and surrounding areas, and they needed Ingram Sparks. And so now in 2025, I went through the expanded distribution. And what is that? In KDP, and I have to take it off BN Press to be able to do. So that whole publishing thing I went through in 2025. And then I had to start my Instagram pages from scratch. Now, I have had all the growth that I currently have on Instagram is solely due to Literacy Inspired. Am I on there commenting and stuff as much as I'm supposed to be? No, I'm not. But when I started my Instagram pages from scratch, and I hired her around the same time. So all of that stuff on there, that is Literacy Inspired. And now, what do? I write, and that's it. I do the newsletter. When you see my newsletter, that's me personally. But the social media, if you see commenting and engaging on social media, that's me personally. But the look of social media, my aesthetic, my website, the launches, all of that is Megan. I have an editor. My editor touches everything. My published books, I have a couple of novellas on the Yelena cohort. I have a couple of origin novellas that are ebook only. My editor has touched those. The 3 books that I give, over here. This is the latest one. the 3 books that I give for free for signing up to my newsletter on my website, my editor has touched those. Everything that I write for public consumption, my editor has touched. Most of these covers, my previous cover designer has done. Megan has done this one, and Megan has done this one. The Manifested Lie and Sister Assassin, Sinister Seduction, and Megan will do everyone that I have moving forward. At a place, y'all, where like I'm okay. Like this is the feeling, the dread, the burnout, whatever that feeling I was feeling in 2020, 2021, I was like, bruh, I'm done with this. I don't feel that anymore. The one thing that is a little difficult for me is I've decided that I need to launch something with Cheyenne and something from Ashley kind of simultaneously. So that means that I have to write them kind of simultaneously. And I did okay with Sinister Seduction and The Manifested Lie, writing those 2 simultaneously. I have coming up Beneath Locker 13 and Yelena 3. I couldn't write those simultaneously. It was my first time writing a middle grades book. And so going from my middle grades mind into the adult crime fiction, paranormal, 3-level spice mind, that transition was difficult for me. So I finished Beneath Locker 13. It's with the editor right now. And now I'm focused on Yelena Cohort 3. My working title my working title for Yelena 3 will be on my newsletter for February. So scan the QR code, y'all. Go join my newsletter so you can get that title. So this topic was how I published my first book. We went through my journey. My first book was a mess. The 3 of them. Each of these 3. These are my first books. These are horrible. This one, the font is bigger. Y'all, these are horrible. Please don't go looking them up. Okay? I really had to learn, and it wasn't the type of learning that I could do without spending any money. Like I said, Monique's course was about $900 some odd, and money well spent. Money well spent is a lot of different things that I did get from free resources, like the expanded distribution, the ISBN numbers, like really into like Ingram Sparks. Some of that stuff I got from like YouTube, from looking at different indie authors. I literally read what Ingram Spark and BN Press and KDP, all of the stuff that they have that you kind of click through. I really sat there and read it because I needed to know the stuff. One thing that I was doing that I'm not anymore, like with my launches, I used to do international book boxes if you signed up on my ARC team. That price was not, it didn't balance out, especially because I did international, y'all. And so me trying to send a book box to Spain was crazy. It was crazy. So one thing that I'm looking here in 2026, as I look back, I just did a video, what are my 2026 goals as an indie author? And all of that stuff stands. Those are my goals for this year. But as I look back to 2018, to these horrible books that I'm not going to show you again, I think my journey was necessary. So like, I'm not New York Times best-selling. Some months I break even. Some months I make profit. Some months I'm in the red. I'm still at the beginning. Like, I'm still new. I'm still building from the beginning. I'm focusing more on my newsletter because I understand the importance of that now. But even though I published first in 2018, 2025, around second quarter 2025, is really my beginning of this online like indie author persona. So if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. If you're an indie author, I would love to know your journey, different tips and tricks. What did you do when you first started that you wouldn't be caught dead doing now? Google Docs, Grammarly, Canva cover. And if you're a reader, let me know which one have you read. Join the newsletter. I'm always giving coupon codes and sneak peeks and all that other type of stuff. Head over to the website to get your copy of Top 5. That is a prequel to the Deceptive High series. And then once you read and download that, I give you a coupon to get the ebook of Spy, the first novel, to jump you right in.